And the latest news today is that we expect, according to FoxNews.com, which says it got a source to tell it, that on Monday, they're going to bring Terrence Bradley, the defense attorney, the divorce attorney for Nathan Wade, former, into the judge's chambers, where we expect he will be questioned by the judge about these sweeping claims of attorney-client privilege he asserted to try to get out of saying whether he knew that they were having an affair long before 2022 and putting the lie to the claims made by Nathan and Fani on the stand. Now, it would be a complete blockbuster if this guy does have that knowledge and can testify to it, because right now, you've had a woman take the stand, Robin Yurty, to say, this affair began long before 2022. It began as far back as 19, and I was Fani's good friend, and even Fani admits that. And she told me, and I witnessed it. And every media outlet since then has said, disgruntled. She's disgruntled because she was forced out of the DA's office on terms she didn't much like. But if this guy, Terrence Bradley, Nathan Wade's former partner and friend, can also say, dude, it was going on for years. It's interesting, very interesting, because yes, it shows she hired her lover without disclosing it, and that's inappropriate. But secondly, and more importantly, it would show these two perjured themselves under oath to the court. So all of it is very interesting, and there are many other problems with Fani Willis's behavior, but that's just the latest today, that this guy's going behind closed doors. And I'll tell you guys, they're fighting with this guy, hammer and tong, because they tried to eviscerate him on the stand last Friday. Sexually assaulted not one, but two women, he denied. But they went after him, trying to get his jugular, even though he said nothing harmful to them. So they must know something we don't know about what Terrence Bradley's texts say or what Terrence Bradley knows. Because we found out on Friday he was texting with Ashley Merchant, the defense attorney. Cat got his tongue once he took the stand. But prior to the stand, he'd been talking a lot, including to Michael Roman, defendant's attorney. Ashley Merchant, she's got all the texts. The judge, I think, will see them, or maybe already has. Maybe the state has seen them too, and that's why they wanted to try to kill this guy without taking any pause to realize, oh, wait, he didn't actually hurt us. Wait to kill him until he hurts us. Otherwise, we look stupid. Anywho, that's where things stand now. And the media continues, and I'll get to this next, to run massive cover for the both of them. So what do you make of these extraordinary developments in this, one of the four big cases against Trump?
Well, I had one basic threshold strategic question for the Trump team here, which is all of us watched all of this last week and unfolding and all the various testimony, how Fani did on the stand and this other dude and all this stuff going on. Are we sure they don't want her to prosecute these cases? If I'm in Team Trump and I'm looking across the dais at what's happening here, I'm like, I feel pretty good about my chances with that lady.
It's so true.
I mean, it's dumb. This is the most serious case you'll ever be trying, in your job, and she decides to appoint her lover. The most high-profile case against a former president of the United States, and she's not maybe this is a bad call. That is a remarkable thing.
I think those are strong words, Bud, because what she said is that when he paid for the trips, she would reimburse him with cash. And what we all know is a typical thing to do when you go on trips with friends. Somebody reserves the VRBO. Let's say it costs $6,000, $8,000 for a week. And then you pay them back with cash. You go to the ATM, you take out $3,000 to pay your half. That's the way it works usually among friends.
A little cash on the nightstand, huh?
That's what Doug and I would do before we actually got married. We were just dating each other. We'd go on, and he would look at me and he would say, "Pony up, $5,000, sister. That's your half." And he would look at me and he would say, "A man is not a plan." And I said, "You're right. You're right."
and demand that the suitcase of cash be delivered directly to him, right? I mean, I think you've got to have some kind of a carrying case for these guys.
What an embarrassing soap opera this whole thing has become. And I can't decide which is more shameless, Joe Biden not recognizing he's in mental decline and should not run for re-election, or Fani Willis realizing maybe she's not the best person to be in the center of this case anymore.
You know what I mean?
They're fighting.
She blew it. She had the greatest opportunity to make herself an international star. She was on her way. The Vogue treatment, all like these cover sheets and pieces on her. And then she got, I don't know, a case of the hormones. I don't know what happened to Fani, but she should have stayed the hell away from Nathan Wade. You know, I think they had like the presumed innocent moment, you know, when they were like trying a case together and they got hot for each other. I don't know. Either it happened before, it happened after. Either way, it's not appropriate.
Don't you gotta button this one up. Yeah. I mean, of all times, like, look, I get things happen in the context of the world, but you don't often find yourself literally at the center of the most important story in the most important country in the world very often. And like maybe that is the time where you just kind of want to trim the sails a little bit. Like maybe
trim the sails.
Maybe that dude, you can figure out how to hang out with him after you get done with all. I mean, it blows my mind the collective lack of judgment that is being displayed on this, and for all the people who are watching the New York stuff that seemed like a total railroad of Trump on multiple counts, and now you look at this Georgia situation. Like, look. They're not sending their best to courtrooms around this country.
And not for nothing, but she isn't handing out minimum wage on this case. Did you see that this guy's made over $650,000 doing like the state side of a case against Trump?
Yes.
That's more about the legal system than we do, Megyn, but like
it's
that
another
seems
thing,
like
Ashbrook. He tried to say that was less than he made in private practice. And then Ashley Merchant was cross-examining him saying, I've got your tax returns from last year. You made $200,000. Hello?
He's like, yeah, but you forget about all the taxes I didn't pay.
Well,
Megyn.
Did he report the reimbursements from Fani in that tax
all
form?
The cash.
The tips.
Exactly it.
Right. You got to get its tips on the nightstand.
So here, let me give you some of the media coverage on this, because it's just that Katie Fang, she used to work at Fox News. She was a Fox News legal analyst at one point and sane. But then she went over to MSNBC, and I think like her brain got colored. You know, it's like you sort of get massaged with this leftist thinking every day, and then before you know it, you're a leftist. I think that's what's happened to her, because this is an insane piece she posted talking about how, okay, I'll give you a line. Over the span of a 2-day hearing in a Fulton County courtroom last week, America unnecessarily heard the details of the personal lives of 2 Georgia state prosecutors. Details we should never have had to learn. That one of them battled cancer. That one of them keeps plenty of cash in her home because her father taught her to do so. That one of them is going through a divorce and agreed with his estranged wife not to file until their children were of age. That one of them has been the target of vile racist death threats. None of that information was relevant or required for the prosecution of a pending criminal case in which the 45th president of the United States is a co-defendant. The real motive behind this waste of time and money was to muddy the waters and create a very public crisis of character for the lead prosecutor. You see, guys, as soon as it comes to bad behavior, female empowerment is out the window. Fani has absolutely no agency for anything that happened to her. It's all the mean, evil Republican defendants who are to blame for allegedly bringing out stories of cancer. Fani volunteered that. Cash, Nathan and Fani volunteered that. The divorce, that was also something brought up by the defense as the reason for, why he wasn't actually cheating, and on it goes. They created this problem. They did not trim the sails, Holmes. They did not trim the sails. That is why this became an issue. Nobody would have been asked these questions had it not been for them.
I mean, it's just, again, they put themselves at the absolute center of this, right? I mean, there is an awful lot of people around the country that would think twice about their own vulnerabilities, liabilities, whether or not they are good enough to prosecute the most important case in a presidential election year that quite literally could determine who the next president of the United States is. And you do some inventory, take some inventory, but knowing that this is inherently a political discussion because it's a political election with a likely nominee, and you're going to be the subject of some criticism. But these people, they're like, it never even occurred to them, and anybody outside of their cul-de-sac might actually know their name. And yet they're
she's signing his
Donald
checks.
Trump.
She's signing his checks and ran on a promise not to have sex with an employee. Now her defense is he's not an employee. He's a contractor. Oh, we missed footnote 47 in your disclosures about who you would and would not sleep with. We'll pay closer attention on your re-election battle.
It's a hell of a campaign promise, though, isn't it?
Donald Trump's superpowers, he somehow cultivates the dumbest enemies.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does it. It's incredible.
I'm busily trying to think how I would work through the ad script on that pitch, right? It's like, I will prosecute crime, we'll clean up the streets, and I definitely will not have sex with my employees.
Independent contractors, it depends how hot. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, you can't make it up.
No, you cannot. But the media's attempt to run cover for these two is not going to work. Katie Fang, by the way, goes on to talk about straw men, that the theory of Republicans who are mad about this relationship of the defendants is that before Wade was appointed, she intentionally went to former governor of Georgia, Ray Barnes, to offer him the job, knowing the entire time that he would turn her down. She intentionally got two other special prosecutors to agree to the same low hourly rate as Wade's. By the way, his cap was much, much higher, so that's why he gets paid more. And there's a real dispute about whether they are getting the same hourly rate anyway. She intentionally got the CFO of Fulton County to conspire with her to approve his invoices each month, convinced a special purpose grand jury to recommend multiple charges against individuals, convinced a grand... Okay, you see where she's going. This is not at all what anyone's arguing. They're just arguing that she has an inappropriate relationship with the special prosecutor she brought in, that she's benefiting now financially from the arrangement because she's signing his checks, which are greater than the other two prosecutors and anyone in her office, and then taking lavish vacations on it. That's it. Right. It doesn't have to have been a concocted plan from 3 years ago. This is a straw man from someone who feels this case slipping away. With cyber attacks on the rise, protecting your data security is more important than ever. So why is Congress considering a bill that could put your credit card data at greater risk of being hacked and exposed to foreign networks? Our advertiser, the Electronic Payments Coalition, says the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill shifts billions in consumer spending to less secure payment networks, all so that corporate megastores can make bigger profits. Find out more about the issue at electronicpaymentscoalition.org and decide for yourself if you would like to tell your senators to oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.